Hawkeye fans, welcome back. Well, we are coming off of a huge win over Northwestern, a happy homecoming win. We're going to recap that game. We've also got an interview with offensive lineman Tyler Elsbury. Such a good conversation. Can't wait for you to hear it. And of course, we're taking on Wisconsin this week. It's a home game, 6:30 p.m. start time. We're going to preview that game coming up. Welcome back to Talkin Hawks, presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hi, Matt.
Hello.
How's it going?
God is good.
It was a great weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend's not over, but what a great Saturday. It was so much fun.
It was good.
How was your day?
It was good. Started off hectic.
When I left the house, I was like, I don't know if I can go with the house and that.
Dax almost ended up in the field behind us, but outside of that,
yeah,
it was great.
It was a tough one for the littles.
They simmered down.
That's good. Good to know. Just when mom leaves, chaos breaks out, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else of note that you can think of?
How was the vibe at the game?
Well, obviously, I was going to get to that. I didn't know if you had any other stories.
No.
Okay. None that you want to share or relive.
More so the latter, but continue.
The game was so fun. Let me tell you. That was one of the best. I think it was the best game in Kinnick of this season. Like, best fan interaction. I mean, obviously, people started to leave early because we were up by so much. Once we hit 40, like, people kind of started to clear out, trying to beat the traffic, that kind of thing. But so fun. So much fun. We had
saw a
so
lot of
many
clips
good
of like the guests.
The guests, yes. Women's basketball team came back from last year, which was so cool. It's just really fun to see all of them together again, because now you're seeing them all out like doing their own thing. We're like Caitlin and Kate and actually not from this team, obviously, but Megan Gustafson came back. Seeing Monica Sonano, like you don't really see much of her anymore. And yeah, just seeing them all, Gabby Marshall, seeing all of them back together, like that was really special that they actually found the time to get everybody back in the same space again.
Yeah.
And I know Jan Jensen's daughter's birthday, I don't know how old she's turning, maybe like 14, was, I think they celebrated it on Friday. And like the whole team came over and celebrated with her. Like, it's just really cool to see their like camaraderie and how that just like never left, you know, even though they all kind of went their separate ways. So it's kind of like in a movie where, you know, the movie ends and then it'll be like, Caitlin Clark got
like
drafted.
Remember the Titans kind of thing.
Yeah. I love when movies do that because it makes me like so emotional, because it's one of my favorite things when like the guy, like a supporting person in the movie that's, or, you know, on the team that's not really like the star. And then it's like, he went on to be like a biochemical engineer and had 5 kids and coaches his son's little league baseball or something, you know what I mean? Not like, I really love those ones too. So anyway, it was just really cool, not to go off on a tangent, to see all of them back together, and then had the really cool opportunity to interview Caitlin and Kate out on the field, which was really awesome. And I was just saying this before we started recording, but I've never heard Kinnick Stadium that quiet in my life than when they were talking. Like, it was eerie. Like, it was just so...
Have that many people quiet?
Dead quiet. Just like silent. Because even like in the national anthem, there's music playing. So it's like everyone's quiet, but there's stuff going on. Right. Singing, flyover, fireworks, there's stuff happening. But when they were talking, silence. It was really cool and kind of intimidating. It's like, oh man, they're all actually listening. Sometimes when I talk, I'm like, everybody's just still doing their thing. But in that moment, they were all listening. So not to me, to the other girls. But yeah, so that was really fun. And then seeing Lisa came back too, which we always love to see that. Chuck Long was there as the Grand Marshal of the homecoming parade. What else? Big E.
Yeah, he was honorary captain, right?
He was honorary captain. Nicest man in the world. Nicest man in the world. I don't know much about like his WWE persona, like what he was like.
Outlandish.
Really? Never really got into it. He has those crazy eyes.
I only know enough because Steve Manders, that was like his idol.
Oh, okay.
And why? I don't think that's the reason he got into WWE stuff or like professional wrestling.
Sure.
I don't know what to call it. Anyway, he was a big reason as to why he got in.
Funny. So yeah, nicest man. He's just like so nice. Go with the flow, do whatever. He introduced the Pancheros burrito lift.
That's yes.
Which is cool. And yeah, overall just a really good game. Entertaining. And yeah, we had some switch ups.
Hold on. Before we get to that, the 40. We need to talk about the 40.
Totally almost forgot. I thought you were talking about the 40 points. Yes, at halftime.
Yo.
Kalen Walker. Kalen Walker comes out so I'm like,
well, they showed the clip on, I think Hawkeye, was it Hawkeye Athletics maybe? And then they did it with UI track and field. So like they showed like the timer. Yeah.
Yeah. And they showed the timer. I was standing right next to the timer guy. Incredible. So yeah, that was
wearing
really
spikes.
Cool.
He wasn't wearing cleats. Okay.
So here's the thing.
At about 4/10. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop. I was seeing all these, I'm just going to call them trolls in some of the comments talking about, I uploaded it into my system and it was actually a 446 and like all this stuff. Like, who's taking the time to do that? Just let it happen. Just let it go. It's a fun thing that we did. Just like a good time.
Running mechanics? Unbelievable.
Crazy. I've never seen someone, and I guess I don't really watch a whole lot of track and field. You and Dax do. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen someone like utilize the ground as much as he did, if that makes sense. Like,
so speed is the amount of power that you can output on the ground, essentially.
Watching him, that was obvious. Watching other people, I'm like, yeah, their legs are really strong. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to explain it.
His knees were way up there on the video. I was like, he's got great
like,
arm action, great leg action.
Yeah. Really short person. Really short guy.
Short meaning?
Well, I guess I had heels on, but he was probably like around my height. He's probably like 5'6", 5'7", something like that. But fast. Holy cow. Anyway, that was really fun. I had a lot of fun with that one.
For those of you that haven't seen it yet, they had him clocked at a 4:15. Now it's a laser, so the difference is on the go, it's on a hand time. And then as he breaks the laser, that's how it breaks. It's not a laser to laser kind of thing, or at least I don't believe they had two sets of lasers.
They did have two sets of lasers.
When he started, or did they have one at the 10?
They had one at the goal line where he started.
Okay, well.
Mm-hmm. And then at the 40.
Maybe that's a little different then, but either way.
Yeah, 4:15. Even if you're like, it was actually a 4:2. Oh, it was actually a 4:25.
That's still wild.
Still really fast.
He was in spikes, but.
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, if he would have had cleats on.
4:15 is 4:15.
I'm not going to take it because that was one of the nicest people I've ever talked to as well. Everyone was just really nice on Saturday. And so I'm not going to take any of it.
Scooting.
Either way. So yeah, the game was super fun. Shout out to the fans because North End Zone was rocking once again. Not only was like the North End Zone rocking, but our defense was rocking in the North End Zone, which is really, really fun to watch. So let's start a little bit uncharacteristically and start on the defensive side of the ball. Matt, what did you see?
It was nice to get some turnovers. 3 turnovers. Quinn Schulte finally got a pick. I feel like we've been waiting. He's had opportunities and then he finally got one. Pretty happy for that. He actually jumped a crossing route. Quarterback did something that you're not supposed to do. Rolling left, throws it back to his right. It's just really hard to set your body up and to see the flow of everybody. And really Quinn was behind the play, so he just jumped in front of it. Nice pick. And then Jay's interception, which was one of the weirder interceptions I think I've ever seen, gets tipped by Nick Jackson at the line, kind of hits the quarterback, falls into Jay's lap, but Jay's so close to the quarterback that the ball just stays there. And then my favorite part about it was like, you can tell they're boys because Jay goes down and then he tries to give the ball to Nick and points to Nick, and then Nick tries to give the ball to Jay and he points to Jay, and like that kind of stuff. Like that's a defense having fun. And if they can continue having fun, that's when they get super scary. The last one, at the very end of the game, quarterback missed a snap and we get a fumble recovery as well. So like seeing that kind of, seeing the defense give the ball to the offense is always a good thing. 2 of 12 on third down for Northwestern. That's what we in the business call not that good. So really good for Iowa's defense in order to get off the field and give Caden Weege an opportunity. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit too. And defense, technically it was a shutout. Final score was 40-14, but one was a pick six and the other was a punt return, which we'll talk about that as well. But technically speaking, defense pitched a shutout. And the Northwestern's first drive, they had one explosive play. It was a quick out. We missed a couple tackles. You know, they get into field goal range. They missed the field goal. But then after that, it was lockdown.
Cool. One other thing I want to say, this is a little random, but the fact that they were 2 of 12 on third down, something that Iowa/Kinnick, whatever, has started doing on third down is playing Mo Bamba. Is that the name? Yeah.
That one.
Keep going. It's really good.
That's how Blair would sing it.
It's how you would sing it. It sounds exactly like it. Yeah. And it's working. Everybody sings along with it. The student section loves it. And I think the defense must really like it too.
They must.
I'm picturing that on Saturday in a night game. Yeah, sounds
We'll get to that. It's not the preview yet.
Just saying it's going to sound really nice.
You don't even know the outline of the show.
Okay, offense. I have a question on offense. You had mentioned that they had like a missed snap. What was the deal when they snapped the ball, but he snapped it to...
I think it was just an errant snap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was meant to be an inside zone based on what I could see, but it was just an errant snap that went a little sideways, and thankfully it went right to Caleb Johnson.
It's kind of funny. I couldn't tell if it was like on purpose or...
I would not expect it to be, no.
Brendan was like, oh.
Because if it was direct, it would have gone right to like Caleb Johnson's chest.
Got it.
And that's not what we would do with Sullivan in there. It'd be more of a pull read. So, but either way, no, wasn't meant to be.
Just a question. Okay, continue.
I like the way that we started the game. We took a big shot, and I'll get into my unsung hero later based on that play. But it was nice to take the top off the field. You know what's funny is that in the preview, I said that in 2017, I caught a big post because they're apt to do that based on where their alignment is. And we had a big post.
Is Tim Lester, are you listening?
Do I know a thing or two?
I'm saying
Maybe.
Pregame, I was did a little sound check, and I was walking back to the tunnel, and I saw him, and I gave him a little, hey, how's it going? I've actually never met him. Tim Lester. Gave him a little, hey, how are you? Just a little cordial. And he gave me a nice smile. Hey, how are you? I think he knows. He's watched.
He must listen.
I know.
Must listen.
The thought of that is so dumb.
There was a down I didn't see, but now that you mentioned it, I noticed it. We didn't see much Reese Vanderzee, if any. Yeah,
we saw some, but then he hurt his something because he had to have a boot on and he was in street clothes.
Gotcha. So obviously we didn't see him the majority of the game.
Correct.
But the other guys stepped up. We had a ton of wide receivers play. Quite a few guys made a big catch. Obviously Seth Anderson with the diving catch. That was good. Lachey got involved early. Only a couple catches though, so we need to continue to utilize him.
So I asked you this on the way here because I was watching the video of Seth Anderson's catch, the diving one, and they did it in slow motion and it looks so violent, like he has to have broken a rib or something, like just the way that it looks. And I asked you, does that hurt when you dive and catch a ball like that? And you said,
no.
Which is shocking to me.
I mean, your adrenaline's going. Like the other part of it is like as a receiver, and maybe not everybody has this, but like my mind would go see ball, get ball. It doesn't matter how I'm going to do it. If I need to dive, if I need to jump, if I need to do whatever, I'm going to do my best to try and get it. Doesn't mean I always make the catch, but I'm going to lay out if I have to. And in that moment, he caught it. So he's lit, he's excited, gets up, flexes. Like if you drop it, you might feel the pain a little bit more. You might feel a little something because your ego is hurt. Plus however you landed. But if you're catching it, and he rolled out of it pretty nice. It was good.
Okay.
So no.
He did pop up real quick.
Yeah.
He gave one of these.
He's excited.
Just
I love it.
First down gesture.
So all that stuff was good. Obviously, Caleb Johnson. It took him a little bit to get going. I think they said his first 7 rushes, he had 4 yards. And then his next 7, he had 104 yards.
What? Like not good enough, 100 more.
Wild. So that kind of stuff, it just took a little bit for us to wear them down. It looked like their front was in a position that was tough on our offensive line. Based on the way that we were blocking, it's like, okay, Logan Jones is supposed to hook this guy, what that means, or reach is usually what they would call it. So if we're going to the right and Logan Jones is obviously at the center, and then there's a D tackle to his right, he has to find a way to get in front of him, loop around, and then reach him and push him back to the left so that way there's a hole. Well, sometimes he's so far to the right that you just can't physically get there on a reach block. And so there were times where it looks like Logan misses his block, but they're just asking him to do something that's very difficult. And so I think what happened later is they made the adjustment. And then obviously Caleb Johnson went off. They just made an adjustment like, hey, okay, we can't get this guy because his alignment's wonky from what we had practiced. Made the adjustment, and all of a sudden Caleb Johnson goes off. So like that stuff was good. Obviously end of the half, which was nice.
Okay, so we're talking about the offense, and you haven't mentioned one time the fact that we had a quarterback change. So
I was making sure that people listened. I know what they're here for. QB1. or QB 12? We don't know. So, because Brendan Sullivan.
Oh, yeah. Number one.
It's a pun.
12. No, I totally get it. 1 and 1, 2.
Yeah.
Mine's way better.
It's way better. So Cade actually started the game off well, I thought. Obviously hit the deep ball, the shot play. Unfortunately, we weren't able to score on that one in the end zone. We did come away with a field goal. And then we kind of stalled out the next couple drives. Missed one or two. Caleb Johnson also had a couple drops. Bring in Brendan Sullivan. Obviously, his legs are kind of the main thing, right? The main difference, I guess, from what everybody's been saying is that his mobility is very different from Cade's, which we did see, right? He can scoot a little bit.
Hold on one second. Speaking of mobility, I just want to say when they did pull Cade, the play right before that, there was a little hitch in his giddy up. You know, like his walking, his jogging didn't quite look the same. I don't know. Like he could have just had a Charlie horse, could have just rolled an ankle a little bit. We have no idea, but I would like to say that I noticed.
If that's the case, I obviously hope that he recovers well. He's had quite a few injuries in his time, so I'd like for him to feel healthy again. That being said, Brendan Sullivan did finish out the game after that, so I don't know if that was the plan. I had heard based on the TV announcers, they said that Sullivan was going to get at least one first quarter drive, but then he just never turned it over. I think we went three and outs with Sullivan before we had a real drive go down the way. His first read, his first actual pass, we threw it to, I believe it was Seth Anderson on the out. It was kind of like a real quick. So on the outside, I'd call it a hook curl concept, but on the inside, it's kind of like a hook flat, curl to flat. On the inside, it was kind of like a hitch and an out. So essentially he hits Lachey on his outside shoulder away from the linebacker on the inside. And there's a linebacker that's there that can either sit there in that window and he can't throw it to Lachey, or he has to play the out. And so he runs with the out. And then you basically throw it to where he's not. So if he sits on Lachey's shoulder, you throw it to the out, he's going to get the first down. If he goes with the out, then you hit Lachey on his shoulder. So his first pass read, he makes a quick decision, which is great. I love quick decisions, but he hit the wrong guy. He threw it to the out and we were short and we had to punt. Whereas Lachey was past the sticks. There was nobody next to him, but we threw the out because we made a really quick decision. So that's something that more game reps, like obviously he hasn't had the amount of passing game reps in game yet, just because he's been the more red zone, like boot, run, read option kind of guy. So he'll continue to get better at that. There was one play that I think most people are kind of talking about, and it's the one where he throws it to the tight end Pascuzzi, which I think is his first catch of the year. And he actually goes out in front and blocks for him, which is really cool to see. He does a phenomenal job getting in front. Like that kind of effort can't be, like you can't lose that. Like that's great effort. I love it. The follow-up to that, and I think this comes with maturity of the position, playing that position more and understanding what Iowa's about. He hasn't been to Iowa a ton, right? He's still newer to the Iowa way of thinking, which I think is more team first stuff. And Mason Richmond actually talked about this in his post game of like, come celebrate with us. Don't worry about what they're doing. I don't know what kind of bad blood is between Sullivan and Northwestern, but I know after the pass to Pascuzzi gets hit out of bounds. Sullivan's not far from him. And instead of going to like help him up and get excited, he turns towards Northwestern's bench and starts talking. And I think there's a level of maturity that comes with being the starting quarterback, especially at the University of Iowa. And I think the more game reps and stuff he gets, he'll start to like understand that it's more about us than it is about them. Because I see that as a receiver all the time. Like so I coach receivers at Solon. I don't really watch film on other teams because I don't really care. I watch film on us because what can we do better? If he lines up left or right or cover three, like I know what he's going to do. I want more so my guys to know like how can their technique get better on this side of the other thing so that way they can beat anything they see. Similarly, when you're out there, like just worry about us. Come celebrate with us. We're the ones that help get you down there. Let's celebrate. Let's not worry about what they're doing, right? I've seen Mason Richmond pull a couple guys away because they're John. But I think there's just something there to go and helping your teammate up to like get the guys to rally behind you and be like, all right, this is QB1. He's going to put his life on the line and go block 40 yards downfield, but he's also going to help me up so we can go do it again. I think there's merit to that. And I hope that that continues to like be the case and that Mason, who seems to be a leader on that offensive line, can start to like get those guys in because then it becomes a real team game. And then that's when this team can really take something forward.
You know, it's funny because speaking of Mason Richmond, and you'll hear this in our conversation with Tyler Elsbury, they were talking about like their game nights that they have for the offensive line. And I was like, which is the guy that like really gets into it, like gets really defensive? And he's like, oh yeah, Mason. Like,
which is weird. If you haven't already seen the one with Mason, go do it because he looks like a goofball. He shows up with a tuxedo t-shirt. Like he doesn't strike me as the most competitive. But.
Well, it is. It's like a little confusing because he comes in and he's like just a goof, like so unbelievably nice and genuine and like goofy and funny and talkative. And then he gets in a game night and he's like, like gets really upset. Yeah. Apparently, I've never seen it, but that's what Elsbury says.
Yes.
And then he's in a game and he's like, hey, don't jaw at the other guys. But if you get him in a board game, apparently he's all about jawing. So Mason, which one is it? Okay.
Range.
He just knows. He knows when and when not.
It's range.
Super funny. All right. Anything else about the offense?
Not really. Kind of ready to get into special teams.
Put up 40. That's always a good sign.
Put up 34 or 33.
Okay.
Because Caden Weegan.
I know, but I'm just saying. We put up
and
40.
defense.
Yeah.
Defense out of safety. I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, we always love the safeties.
Speaking of which, this was one of the things that I learned is that the ball needs to be completely out of the end zone for it to not be a safety. So a safety is similar to a touchdown, where if it's at all in the white when they're down, it's the scoring of whatever that is.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I thought the whole ball had to be in for it to be a safety, but it makes sense when you look at it. So maybe I'm just an idiot. But now that makes sense. Yeah, the whole ball has to be out if they're not going to call the safety. So
Gotcha.
Shout out to Max Llewellyn for that.
Yeah.
Although if we can clip this, John, Josie doing a safety celebration, like this weird one-legged dance, it is one of the funniest safety like celebrations I've ever seen in my life. So if we can clip that, we're going to need to. But I was waiting for more, but unfortunately I had to go review it and then everybody's hands went up.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so
the
funny.
safety one is so funny because they're kind of like babies, how they can't put their
They're so
hands.
big and they got shoulder pads
It's
on.
the shoulder pads. Like, you know how babies, their heads are too big and their arms are too short. And so they just barely go over. That's what it looks like. It's kind of funny.
Yes.
And it's one of the it's one of the better things you can do as a defensive unit. Like one of the more like BA things you can do. And then to like pair it with this is just so good.
Love it.
It's really good.
Sorry, special teams. Caden Weegan finally got one.
Yeah. I feel like, does he have some sort of like connection with the track team? Do you know? You don't know?
I don't know.
Oh, well, anyway, I was standing with the track coach that was there with Kaylin, and he's like, come on, Weegan. And I was like, oh, maybe he has some sort of connection. Maybe he was like really into track when he's in high school or something.
Weegan's from Williamsburg, so it's possible that like he watched him growing up.
Possible. Either way, they were like super pumped for him too, which is really cool. Yeah. And I was right there when he got all the way down. Yeah. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I was also there for one of Caleb's touchdowns and I was in the shot.
You look like such a dork.
That was so embarrassing. I was like, I hate that I was there. I try not to be in the background of any shot because you just never know. So embarrassing. Continue.
Anyway, so Weegan, and I'm pretty sure I called that in the preview as well.
Did you? Oh, I think you did.
Oofda.
And Reese had a great day.
It was a good preview.
Yeah, it was. Reese had a great day.
He did, except for the one touchdown that he gave up. Now, I'm not entirely sure if those guys were gunners. I'm pretty sure Entringer is a gunner. But do you remember the coaching point for gunners when you're inside 7 yards, you take a shot on the opposite hip?
Okay.
Both those guys went near hip.
Oh.
And the punt returner, who's never returned a punt in a game ever, first timer, backup punt returner, splits them because they both went near hip and their helmet was not in front going to the opposite hip. That's why it's so important, because when you go opposite hip, you force the guy to go laterally because he can't go straight. If you go straight, you're going to get him right in the shoulder pad. And if he goes away from you, you run into him and now he's going where you want him and then you just tackle him. But if he's going to make you miss, he has to go laterally sideways, which gives the rest of your team an opportunity to come down and make the tackle. But they both went near hip, and so he just split them. Before
you get into your unsung hero, I have to say, I'm not going to say who it was because we'll talk about when he comes on the show. One of the players that we've mentioned in the unsung hero that you've mentioned in that segment, when I reached out and was like, hey, do you want to be on the show? He was like, yeah, I would love to. By the way, thanks for the shout out. The unsung hero. That was so nice.
Ayo.
So that was really cool. Like
Very
I said,
cool.
When he comes on the show, we will discuss. But I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because, 90, I don't want to say 90. 75 to be conservative with it, % of what they see on social media, I'm sure isn't positive. So
based on my experience, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool to be able to put something out there that they can see and be like, oh, sweet, somebody noticed, you know?
Yes.
So that's kind of the point of it. And it worked. So that's cool. Anyway, who's your unsung hero this week?
Well, full disclosure, I had a couple DMs from people that watch the show. And they were like, hey, it should be this guy. He should be this guy. And I love it. I love that you guys have ideas. You're all wrong, but I love that you guys have ideas.
That was so rude.
For who it should be. But the unsung hero is more about somebody that you wouldn't expect it to be a big play. Now, the one about Ethan Hurkett was a little bit different, right? Because he was just always in the frame and you had to say something. This one is Mason Richmond. Okay. Because he drew an offsides penalty. That's it.
This is the second time you've used a penalty as your unsung hero.
Yeah. So unsung hero brought to you by JB Roofing. What he does is during I think it's our first or second drive. I believe it's our first drive. It's 3rd and 10. Okay. So there's only so many plays you're going to run on 3rd and 10 that are going to get you 10 or more yards. Not only that, but also what the defense is going to do based on that, because they know you're not going to run the ball on 3rd and 10. It's like a 95% certainty you're going to throw the ball on 3rd and 10. So there's a certain coverage that they're going to run for that. That being said, when a guy comes across the line of scrimmage on defense, that's not an inherent penalty. Did you know this?
No.
So they can come across the line and go back. They can just keep doing that. What makes it a penalty is that Mason flinched late because he knew that it wasn't the snap count. But a lot of times in the NFL, tackles actually can't even hear the snap count. So they just react to when the DN goes. So that's kind of how you get the nature of that penalty. But the DN came across, he was on his way back. And then Mason was like, oh, if I quit go, I'll get the penalty. And he did. So because he was across, and then the ref actually even said it, the offensive line flinched, or the defensive lineman came across, forcing the offensive lineman to flinch. Therefore, it's a offsides penalty. So he didn't have to. But because he had the wherewithal, he did that. But what that did was shorten it to 3rd and 5. I was run the ball on 3rd and 5 before. So now you have to kind of go back to your base coverage of it's not just an offense. It's not just a pass. Now it might be a run. So we need to bring our safeties back down to play quarters coverage. And then we hit them with the big post over the top the very next play, because now you can run whatever you want. That's why I got excited. So unsung hero by JB Roofing was Mason Richmond for putting us in a position to call the shot play.
Very good. Thanks, Matt. I like that one a lot.
Unsung.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into our interview with Tyler Elsbury. We'll be right back. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small town roofer you can trust. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right. But did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Well, Hawkeye fans, everyone please welcome to the Talkin Hawks studio, Tyler Elsbury. Tyler, how are you doing?
Good. Excited.
Yeah,
Heard
good.
a lot of. So.
Well, you've heard a lot about it from one of our most interesting characters.
The most interesting.
Yes, that has been on the podcast, and that is your roommate, Jennings Dunker. So we have to talk about being roommates with Jennings Dunker at some point. But first, we just want to start with you, and we'll just go with like where you're from and go from there.
Yeah, so I'm from a small town, Byron, Illinois, Northern Illinois, really small. High school is probably about 450-ish.
Oh.
So
The entire school.
Yeah, entire school, freshman into senior. I knew everybody knew me. Mm-hmm. Kind of like that for everyone in the town. It's interesting that way. So coming here, it's nice to, not necessarily know everyone.
Yeah. Would you say, was it a big like shift when you came here to like not know everybody coming from there?
Not really. I mean, It's hard to judge because when I first got here was COVID, was my freshman year. So like everyone that was here was football. So I did know everyone at first.
Fair.
But I mean, now I'm used to it with the city and being around and
The city.
yeah.
I like that.
That makes sense.
Compared to me, this is a
Right?
big city.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But,
Matt's from a small town, South Dakota, so he
Yeah.
gets
So
it.
it's
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have 4 older brothers.
Oh my goodness.
They all played at Co. So
Nice.
my parents both went there as well. So I'm very familiar with Iowa, though. My dad's side is from Iowa, northeast Iowa, and my aunt lives in Cedar Rapids. My oldest brother lives in North Liberty now. So
my goodness.
Very good. Okay.
very, very familiar.
I'm just thinking
So-
about your mom having 5 boys.
Yeah,
Is she okay?
yeah,
That's
she's a saint.
intense.
My mom did very well. She says that she didn't want a girl. I highly doubt it. I mean, you don't have 5 boys without trying to get one girl in there, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's fair.
yeah, she's amazing. She definitely took care of us very well. Her and my dad. So
What are the ages of everybody?
so my oldest brother is 31 and I'm 23. So 8
Oh
years in
my.
between us.
Wow, that's not very much.
No.
She was hoping for a girl.
That's what we all say, but she denies it.
She denies it.
But,
oh, that's
yeah,
funny. A
so-
true boy mom. What was
Yep.
it like growing up with that many brothers in your house?
It was interesting, very competitive with everything, food in the house, to sports. But it was also fun. Like I got to watch my oldest brothers go through, high school sports and everything and learn from them very well before I had to experience stuff. So very fun, very entertaining, lots of funny stories to be told. I'm sure that they probably have some really good ones about me when I was younger, and I have some great ones about them getting in trouble or not, but
Right.
it was definitely entertaining. Never a dull moment when you have a family of 7 total people.
So with 8 years in between, you were probably at least on the team with 1, if not 2 of your brothers.
Yeah,
then,
just
at least in
one.
high
So
school.
I was a freshman when my brother Brandon, who's right above me, he was a senior. So I played with him 1 year. I wrestled with him for a year too. So
Oh, very good.
we were all 3 sport athletes mainly.
What was the third? What was the third sport?
Baseball.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
First
All right.
baseman?
Yep. Pitched a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I tried to do as many as I could, but our AD and other coaches didn't like the idea of it. So I only got to play 3.
Gotcha.
Different than Iowa, where you have summer baseball. Baseball's in the spring for
Sure.
Illinois with everything else. So
Okay.
What else would you have played?
I would have played basketball as well as
Oh, sure.
wrestled. I would have done track. I would have thrown and played baseball at the same time. And I did get recruited to be a goalie for soccer as well as play football at one point, but I didn't end up doing that. So I would have
Where
I would have done them all. So
That's crazy. Where'd you get recruited to play soccer?
well, just like at our high school soccer coach tried
got
to
it.
recruit me to play soccer as well and be a goalie.
Understood.
And
I'm trying to imagine you out there with a bunch of 5'4" soccer dudes. Like
Yeah.
nobody's scoring.
yeah, well, I mean, the goalie that they had at the time, he played basketball too. He was like 6'7", like he was taller than me, 6'8".
God.
Played basketball at Rockford University, went on. So like they were trying to like when he was gone, like recruit me in. Easier, taller people,
Sure.
can cover a bigger goal. So, but I didn't do it. I don't think my football coach would have been too happy with that. But I was missing practices and stuff.
Okay, so give us like one appropriate story from growing up with brothers and what that was like.
So they'll get a real kick out of this. I'll tell this. It's kind of embarrassing for me, but when I was younger, my dad and our neighbor were a part of the Lions Club. So there was a Lions costume. They somehow convinced me to dress up in it. My oldest brother took out Snapchat when I was, newer and was pretending to be a safari guide, about it. There's videos.
Yes.
But was pretending to be a safari guide. And little did I know, my middle brother was in on it. So we were outside in our backyard and he had me like take off running as a part of it. And like, oh, he's chasing down a lion. Well, my other brother comes from behind a tree line and just like smokes me. Just form football tackle. So there's a funny one. It's on video. There's and the best part about that story is somehow they convinced me to do it again because the video got cut off.
Oh, no.
So,
So you were like,
so
run it back.
run it back. And I did it. I was naive, I guess. But in the video, you see like the head of the lion like come off and like, yeah.
Well, now we got to do a deep dive.
Yeah, we got to find that somewhere.
Yeah.
That's so good.
It's interesting. And then there's also a YouTube video out there of me when I was really young. It was Christmas. We had a laptop that we took a bunch of, like funny videos on and tried to do like the Jackass movies.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of time where they were trying to recreate that stuff.
Oh no.
So I was playing Xbox, like just got an Xbox 360, was wearing a whatever ear warmer thing that we got for Christmas from a family member. And my brother comes in with a cup of water and a boxing glove on behind me, and I'm locked in and just bam. And that's on YouTube. So that one's very public. You can look that up.
Oh my goodness.
There's some good ones. There's more about them too and stuff, but there's some good ones out there. So
oh my gosh. So being the youngest, that had to have like had his pros and cons.
yeah, I'd say I got it the worst.
Yeah.
Being the youngest. But you also probably the youngest who are spoiled the most too.
Yeah.
Not having. So there's two sides to it, but
Right.
Are you the biggest out of your brothers?
I weigh the most. One of my brothers is 6'7", 6'6".
What?
But we're all my dad's probably 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
My mom's probably 5'10". Tall.
Yeah, taller for a girl.
My shortest brother is 6 foot, so like we're all 6 foot and above.
Oh my God, your mom is a saint. How did she feed you boys?
Oh my.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I always wonder that sometimes too, like, if you didn't have 5 boys, how much money could they have now? Spending a lot of money on us, sports, food,
Yeah.
miscellaneous,
For sure.
cars,
Yeah.
we were all fortunate enough to get a car at 16.
Yep. Wow.
Dang.
That's
Well,
amazing.
well, now that we're on it, what was your first car?
So my first car was a Trailblazer.
Nice.
Bought it from a family, used, not in the greatest of shape, but got me from school to home to wherever.
That's all you need.
It was perfect. So,
That's awesome.
and we all all our first cars were kind of like that,
Okay.
we didn't go to a dealership and buy new. We'd buy it from
Right.
someone for a couple grand and got you from A to B, and then it'd be handed down, and then
Right.
eventually they'd break down on you and get a new one.
Did it have a CD changer and everything?
Yeah. Yep. I actually had to
High
like
class.
Mhm.
cassette tape with the aux cord.
That's
for
what I had in mind. Yeah, I had a
use
Chevy
that.
Cavalier.
It's funny because you have friends that are like driving newer cars, and you're just like, "You want to drive, Tyler?" No, I'm not driving more than 10 miles in this thing without being nervous.
Right.
But,
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. Yeah. Being the youngest, you had did you guys like fight over food? Was it like you would write your name on stuff? Because I know families with like large amounts of kids,
Yeah.
like, no, this is like, don't touch my cereal that I picked out or something like that.
yeah,
You know?
there was some of that, but it's also like with being the youngest, they were all in sports, so they'd be
Okay.
playing like we all played basketball in middle school, all did travel wrestling, like played football, played baseball,
Mhm.
whatever. So like everyone was somewhere else at a different time. So it was more just like on your own for food, like mac and cheese, frozen pizzas, pizza rolls, stuff like that, cereal with milk, So it wasn't necessarily like we were fighting over like my name was
Specific
on this
stuff,
in the fridge,
right.
like don't eat it. It was more like what can I scavenge up around the house here
Yeah.
that I can eat while my mom and dad are at so and so's baseball game or
Right.
whatever.
I'm trying to think about how many boxes of cereal it would take to fill this dude up.
I was thinking more of the milk. Now
Yeah.
we're just like stuck on food, I think, because we know how much, with only 2 children, how much we spend on food.
Well, yeah.
But
I'll piggyback off the milk for you. You guys can find this funny.
Okay.
We had a milk fridge in our garage.
no way.
A fridge just for milk.
Just for milk. Like we County Market in Byron, shout out to them for providing us with milk, but they would do deals on Sundays where you can get 3 gallons of milk for $10
Mhm.
or whatever it was.
That's a good
So, and then that it'd be per person though. So my mom would each give us $10
deal.
and we'd all go in separate,
Nice.
and they let us get away with it. I don't know, but
Wow.
I think my mom and dad said they counted it up one time, and we went through like with all of us home, 14 gallons of milk in a week.
No.
Yeah. Well, we'd all have a bowl of cereal. We'd all have a glass of milk with dinner.
I'm
like,
sure once you got
for
older, you
everything.
did,
So
like, the shakes and smoothies.
yeah,
all that kind of
shakes,
stuff.
smoothies.
Were you
everything
whole
like
milk, 2% skim?
that. 2% usually.
Okay.
Nah,
It's not skim.
It's not whole
It's
milk.
fine.
Yeah.
whole milk, but definitely skim's like water that they dyed white.
Yeah. we're a 2% family. Always. Through and through.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so you said you wrestled.
Yep.
And we've talked with some of the other linemen just to say, like, do you think wrestling helps you with like your technique and things like that now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just leverage. Like when you talk about linemen, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about wrestling, it's a lot of the same hand leverage, you know, whatever, pad leverage in football, but can't be standing straight up and down on a wrestling mat either. So it correlates. And then also just like competitiveness, like it's not a team, like you're one-on-one, like it's really just like how bad do you want it versus him, and technique wise learning. So I think it helped me a lot. And in football for sure. I mean, I wrestled pretty much my whole life. So
really, when did you start? How old were you?
I was probably 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. So your whole family wrestled, right? All the boys.
Yeah, my dad was our head wrestling coach.
No way.
And stuff. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. So you were born into it.
Yeah. Yep,
Well, you must
definitely.
have been lit, all 5 boys. Like, all right, come hang out with me for a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun. He's older, you know, being the youngest. He tried, and I wrestled heavyweight. And he's my dad's a bigger dude. So when I was in high school, my wrestling partner was our 220 pounder. He was one of my better friends. So there was one day I was a junior wrestling heavyweight. My dad tried to, you know, get me used to the weight of a bigger dude, and it didn't pan out well for him. That's kind of what I knew. But there's fun. I mean,
Did you pin him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, Dad.
Love it.
That's
Love
so
it.
funny. You know what's funny about that? So we have a son, he's 3, and he loves to like race. Quote,
Yeah.
unquote. And I'm always like, man, just let him win a race. And he's like, no, someday he actually will beat me. So I'm going to take advantage of when I can beat him.
He's not me.
You got to make him earn it.
He's
I like it.
Yeah.
He's fast for a 3-year-old, but I'm not going to lose to a 3-year-old. You know, like that's more so how I see it.
Yeah.
So I just imagine your dad like getting beat by his youngest. Like, the time has come.
Yeah.
Here
Definitely.
it is.
So
Oh, that's really good. Okay, so baseball, wrestling, football. So then you get into high school and probably taking football a little more seriously.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when did your recruiting process start?
Fairly early, when I was probably a sophomore, I'd say it start. Coach Wallace, I mean, didn't necessarily reach out to me, but I got the letters and the graphics and stuff like that in the mail. Went to camps pretty much all I could. My brother would take me when my parents had to watch the other boys and stuff. So had some road trips with my brother there.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
It was fun. I mean, there's some good stories on those road trips too. But yeah, it started pretty early for me. I was always bigger. When I was a freshman, I was probably 6'3", 250. Like I was never ever I was always the biggest kid. Like even kindergarten, whatever. There's pictures where I was always just absolutely.
You look like that
massive.
picture of Andy Reid, like that old picture of Andy Reid in Pump Pass and Kick. Have you ever seen
Yes,
that? That was you.
Yeah, that was me. Like to a T. Like I was taller than my first grade teacher when I was in first grade. Like she had to wear heels to be taller than me. So every day she wore heels. Like that's like true story. Like known. Yeah,
That's incredible.
So funny.
so like I was always bigger. So I was pretty fit, well put together. It's pretty competitive. Obviously, it turned out to be decent at football. And wrestling, I was pretty good at too. So
Was camps kind of how you got recruited, or was it more so because you had mentioned, we talked off air, that Reed Silby is from your high school. So like, how did that start?
Yeah. So actually, you want to go further back than that. My football coach was Sean Considine. He's from Byron as well.
Wow. Yeah.
So he was our D coordinator in high school and stuff. So with him, you have Reed as well.
So there was always a
little connection there. The Considine family, Megan played basketball here too. So yeah. So, I don't know if Sean talked to Coach Wallace. I know that they're pretty good friends. Coach Parker, Sean always talks about how he loves Coach Parker. But yeah, I'd say camps was probably the biggest thing. Obviously, I got out here, went to a camp, and that's kind of when it kicked off with everything. So,
And you said you were pretty good at wrestling. What does pretty good mean? Did you guys have a good team? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, both. We were a pretty good team. I was a state finalist twice.
Nice.
So I was solid. I lost to Logan Lee as a junior.
No way.
Actually, yep. And then my senior year, I lost as well. But
Does he still hold that over you? I mean, obviously he's not on the team right now.
We mentioned it a few times. We always talked about getting back into the wrestling room a little bit in the winter and stuff like that, but never happened. It was good banter though. But I was decent. I had over 100 career wins in high school. I started as a freshman in wrestling too. So
Very good. Cool. So recruiting process, was there any other teams that reached out to you other than Iowa?
Yeah.
Or that you seriously considered? Maybe a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Mixture of both. I had a decent amount of offers, I'd say. Probably the other team that really considered me early was Purdue.
Okay.
I went out there a few times with my brother, road tripped it.
How'd you feel about Purdue? In the nicest way possible.
I honestly liked it when I was getting recruited.
Their stadium always made me just like, oh, that doesn't look like a very nice stadium.
Yeah.
Don't put him in a bad position.
I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it. Honestly, they were probably my number 2 school in high school. If it wasn't going to be Iowa, I was pretty heavily considering them.
Gotcha.
I didn't really finish my recruiting process because I committed when I was a junior
Nice.
to Iowa here. So, but I mean, when I say second, like it wasn't even really close. Everyone knew where I was kind of going, but I was looking still.
Were you kind of thinking Iowa the whole time with Considine and with CLP?
Yeah, I'd say Iowa the whole time too. Just kind of my high school runs a wing tee. Like we're very old school run centric. So just like that, and then you have Iowa's tradition of offensive lineman. You're like Brandon Sheriff was a lineman that like in high school I'd watch his highlight videos before I just, go play a football game and stuff like that. So I was always very rooted here. Like I said, my grandparents are from Iowa as well. So just family oriented. Talking to the coaches, they're also very family oriented. It kind of just fit who I was and who my family, raised me to be as well.
So when you did, and I don't know what the process exactly looks like, but like you have a host, right? When you come in for like your official visit?
For the official, yeah.
Okay. Who is your host for that?
Logan Lee.
Oh,
They did that on purpose.
Had to.
Yeah, it was good. But I actually didn't take my official during the summer. Like most people, I took mine during the winter.
okay.
I happened to be wrestling or doing something. So I came. It was a Penn State meet. It was awesome.
Nice.
Logan, I knew him obviously, so it was very, very comfortable. So it was a good time.
Cool. So what year would that have been? As you went to the Penn State wrestling meet?
It would have been probably 2019 winter.
2019. What happened? I'm trying to think of when.
I think
What that
Iowa
would've
won that.
Did they?
Yeah, I think that's when Michael Kemmer.
Was that the one?
Was that?
That's what I
That's the one that I was
That's
thinking.
I think that was the one.
Yeah. And you're like,
Very
sold.
upset. And it was-
Done.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was my first Iowa wrestling meet. It was sick.
Carver would have been electric.
It was electric.
Insane. Do you still go to meets sometimes?
All of them. I try to go to most of them. Actually, I should say not all of them, but
Yeah.
I try to go as many as I can. They're awesome. Like there's nothing like Kinnick's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like as not playing and participating, like
Sure.
there's not a better atmosphere than walking into Carver, sitting, fairly close to the mat and getting amped up by a bunch of fans yelling too. And
It's
a
an
great
insane
atmosphere.
spectator sport.
Yeah.
Like it is the spectator sport. Like it is just like gladiator style,
Yeah,
You said like
yep.
1v1, like it's just all the competitiveness. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much fun. Very cool.
I'm still learning about that kind of stuff though. Although I do think it's 3 now.
Now
right?
it's 3. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
But so I didn't get into wrestling at all until I met her. She kind of got me into the sport.
Yeah.
I
don't know if wrestling's a
It's
thing in
wild.
South Dakota. You went to South
I mean,
Dakota. I saw it on your Instagram. You went to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yep. Me and some like Monty Potabom and Jack Plum, Seth Benson, and Logan Klemp. A couple years ago, we had our May break, and we actually road tripped out to Yellowstone. So we stopped in South Dakota, stayed at Benson's. Benson's parents drove the rest of the way. Went in, camped in, stayed overnight, hiked in, like backpacked it,
Whoa.
hiked out.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's intense.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to get really excited that somebody used South Dakota as the destination, not just traveling through. And then you're like, we just stopped at Mount Rushmore as we went to Yellowstone.
Well, we went to the Badlands. We went to Mount Rushmore. We went Waldron,
Black Hills, all that kind of stuff.
we did all that on the way.
Dang.
But our final destination, we were testing our survival skills into Yellowstone.
Are you like a nature guy? Are you like Naked and Afraid?
No,
They
not
have
that serious.
something, probably.
Not
Well, I'm not saying you can shoot Naked and Afraid. Could you survive on Naked and Afraid, you think?
No, I'm not that knowledgeable yet.
What is it, 2 weeks?
I think so.
I think the standard is 2
or
weeks.
10 days or something.
Oh,
like
I could do that.
You could
2
last.
weeks. Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Easy.
Can you bring a knife? What's the other one?
I think you get to pick like
Yeah.
You
a
pick.
couple of things.
Okay, well, school me up. What are you bringing?
I'd bring like a machete, like a knife.
Okay.
You gotta have that. I'd probably bring some sort of fire starter just because I'm not well versed in doing it without anything. And then preferably probably like something like a tarp for like shelter or something. And then I think after that I could be pretty well I think I could fare pretty decent.
The thing that always gets people in trouble on that. Do you watch that show ever?
Yeah, water.
Water. Yes.
Gotta boil it. I'm already versed in that though.
You're good
I can
though.
do that. Yeah.
Okay. You just have to start the fire first.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's why fire starter. You get a little pot. I think you can
Yeah.
make a pot. It'd be easy.
And now
Find
you're
some
adding
fruit.
a pot onto
I was
it.
gonna say, now
Well,
you-
that's the other thing.
Fruit too.
people-
That's the thing. You eat fruit, hydrates you, plants. So
True.
you don't gotta rely so much.
But some people get like, they like step in the wrong thing or like rub up on the wrong plant.
Yeah.
Like, do you know
That's
about
the
all
thing.
that kind of
No,
stuff?
no.
That would be hard.
But I'd be very careful in that aspect.
Sure.
If you could take one other, because normally it's couples, right? Like it's a guy and a girl typically,
I think so.
or two
yeah.
guys or whatever. Who would you bring with you from the team if you had to survive?
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh, that's a good question. If Logan Lee was still on the team, I'd pick him.
Well,
But
I would pick
now
Logan Lee.
and that's like no brainer.
Yeah.
But right now,
Yeah, current roster. Who's surviving with you for 2 weeks?
that's tough. I'd probably have to pick a skill guy.
The skill guy.
Food-
Really?
Food wise, can't share food with two linemen, right?
Oh my gosh.
Like
That's strategy.
can't do that.
That's smart.
just unless you're going based off like who could survive the longest without eating, then maybe. But
Yeah.
I'd probably say Caden Legion or Kale Krogh. Those two.
Okay.
Why Whedon?
He's a big hunter. I feel like he likes to deer hunt and stuff. So
Mhm.
hopefully he's a little well versed in survival out there.
The problem is with him, if you're running from something, he's going to outrun you.
Yeah.
I like my chances.
Okay.
Like taking a bear, like you're just.
Yeah.
Whew.
Survival of the
I like
fittest.
the confidence here.
Survival of the fittest there. Like you gotta like that's fight for your life. I think I'd be pretty.
Yeah. The competitive edge would come out.
Well, it'd be like those things that you hear, like when the adrenaline shoots up and the mom
Yeah.
lifts the car.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think like a bear would absolutely kill me. Like there's no way. Like
I mean,
their
you get a
claws and the
couple,
bear
like-
paws on but I could get a good shot. So, and I'll save Caden. Caden, he can.
I
take
say then
off.
we just gonna
You
eat.
can go.
Yeah, you got it.
Jeez. That's the sacrifice of a lineman if I've ever heard it. I'll do the dirty work.
I
It's
don't
gotta be
know if
done.
there's much of a choice there. Like you said, he's outrunning me regardless.
True.
And I'm not outrunning a bear. Those things are fast too. So
Speaking of hunting, do you hunt?
I've recently started to hunt.
There you
So
Okay.
my dad used to be a big hunter when my family lived out in Iowa. He'd turkey hunt a lot and stuff like that. But having 5 boys makes it pretty hard to hunt. And when you don't we don't have land necessarily.
Mm.
Sure.
So these past few years I've started turkey hunting. Starting to try to deer hunt and other pheasant, stuff like that. Get in with some guys on the team. So
When you mean starting to deer hunt, like you have gone deer hunting, or
I've
you're
not-
prepping to go deer hunting?
I have not sat yet, but have been prepping for this fall here.
What are you gonna shoot? What kind of gun?
350 Legend or a bow. So
Bow.
yeah.
Oh, so like he real.
Yeah.
So then you do have to prep for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Like I feel like to get good at bow, like you got to do it almost all the time.
yeah, I have a block. I go out and practice. So
Do you live in
Okay.
town
I do.
and you just out
No.
back?
No.
You wouldn't do that. No, you have to
No.
go
No,
out.
my my brother's girlfriend is from Swisher. Her dad has like a doe and like a doe block in their
Oh,
backyard.
sure.
I go up there, and then also there's a range like in
Mhm.
Corville that you go to and stuff.
Wait,
like
in
that.
Corville? Where's the range
Yeah.
in Corville?
I don't know.
It's like fairly new, but they have targets set up and stuff for you, like off the
Oh.
strip.
Nice.
Interesting.
Didn't know anything about it.
No, I got to get sighted in. Her brother always goes deer hunting
Yeah.
first week of December. I had to get sighted in because my son loves deer meat.
Hmm.
Nice.
So I got to go get some.
That was when Matt became a man. We say was when he went deer hunting with my brother for the first time.
Her brother's out there a little bit.
Him and Jennings would get along very well.
Yes.
If that tells you anything.
Like clean a deer in the
Yeah.
apartment, like
Yeah.
just hanging up.
yeah.
Yeah, I
All
would do
the
that too.
time. Yeah.
In my garage, hang it.
No,
can
but
do
no,
that.
we're talking middle of the apartment, like kitchen.
Really?
Like just.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. My girlfriend would probably kill me.
Yeah.
But
I would hope so.
um,
But Jennings is your roommate.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Jennings is my roommate.
So you hunt like turkey, pheasant, deer. Meanwhile, he's bringing home like raccoon. How do you feel about that?
and a rabbit.
And rabbit.
Rabbit, yeah.
Rabbit is like a little more like understandable. You hear that a little bit more than you hear about eating raccoon. Did you try the raccoon
No,
stew that he made?
I did not.
He even got the recipe right. He said he tracked down somebody at Walmart to get the right soup.
Kid, he's ridiculous. All right, I would never probably eat a raccoon. especially not a city raccoon. He says it was a country raccoon. I don't know if I believe him unless I see him.
He said you just got to cook it a little longer, make sure it gets all the stuff out of it.
I don't know.
No way.
Like maybe if we're out in the woods, a few hundred acres and there's a raccoon, like
Sure.
I could do that wild, you know.
Naked and afraid.
Yeah.
You get a raccoon.
But when I see him coming out of the sewers in Iowa City at night and like trying to get into like
yeah.
Those are the plump ones.
Exactly.
No.
But squirrel, yeah, I'll eat squirrel. I'll eat rabbit. Like that's good meat. But yeah, his personality's awesome though. I love living with him. He's great. But raccoon's a little out there for me.
Yeah. He definitely was one of those interviews that we did when I went home and like called my mom. I was like, you will never believe the stories that I just heard from this man. Like, he's just the most interesting dude ever. Like, you've got to have some good stories rooming with somebody like that. Do you guys do you do the slip and slides? Did you partake in that?
I did. That was awesome. That was incredible. Yeah, pretty much everyone that stayed. We had a week break before fall camp started, and we decided that after we got done with our final conditioning session that we were gonna get a slip and slide, big slip and slide, put it in someone's backyard and have some fun.
Who brought the idea forward? Was it Jennings?
I don't know if it was Jennings. I think it might have been Cade McNamara and Logan Jones.
Really?
Interesting.
And then once Jennings kind of heard, he took off and ran with it, and obviously they went and got one.
You said they had a good deal too.
Yeah, I don't know the logistics on how they got it. I just participated. It was fun. It was incredible.
That's fun.
It rained. We stayed.
Oh, that's even better.
Grinded it out. It was awesome.
That is hysterical. And you guys do your like weekly lineman dinners.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you ever a part of cooking for anything like that, or is that not like your specialty?
No, I mean, I'll cook steaks if people want me to, but everyone's, guys cooking steaks are like, I'm the best and whatever. But, I think I'm the best, but who knows? No, usually people just bring their own food and grill up kind of what they want and stuff. I am big into cooking though. I like to cook at home and stuff like that. Like my own steaks, my own whatever.
Nice.
What's your go-to? If like girlfriend's coming over, she had a rough day, you got to make her day with this meal. What are you gonna make?
Pasta for her. She's like pasta.
You can't just say pasta. Like, what exactly are you making?
Like spaghetti with probably some meatballs. If I were to get like
real fancy.
Yeah, real fancy.
Yeah.
Or chicken, like chicken Alfredo.
Okay.
Or pasta with red sauce.
Wow.
Ground up some beef and red sauce, cook it up. So
nice.
But like personally, I would just like lunch, grill a steak, 2 pieces of toast, and 2 eggs, and then I'm good.
Really? Steak and eggs?
Yep.
I don't know. I just never could
get
it.
How are you cooking your eggs?
Toast, though.
Thank you. Yes.
Over easy with the sourdough toast.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can get on board with that. Do you make your own sourdough or you just buy it?
No, I buy that.
Okay.
She tried to, like with the starter and stuff. It's just like
so much.
It's a talent.
Process talent.
It's a legitimate talent.
Yeah.
Too time consuming.
Exactly. So much patience. So much patience. Yeah, I don't know that I could get on that one either. Huh. Okay. So pasta. Do you do like sides and stuff too, or is that not your thing?
Yeah. So actually, but like I don't make the sides. My grandparents like can green beans and like applesauce and stuff like that. So I usually just like grab one of those off the shelf and add that to it. Toast, sourdough toast. And that's pretty much about it.
Easy stuff.
Yeah.
It's cracking me up because you have this like youngest child mentality where you're like, yeah, all the other guys think that they're the best, which is fine. But like, like, so I'm the youngest too. And so you just kind of have to be like, you know what, you guys, like, fine, you do your thing. I'll let you think that you're whatever. And also the story that you like did the thing again with the lion's costume because that just like resonates with me. Like, okay, fine, I'll do it. If you guys thought it was funny, like,
yeah, exactly.
We're having a good time. Fine.
And I could picture exactly what they were probably telling me too. Like, no, it's all. And I was probably bawling my eyes out too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but like, no, it's awesome. Like, it'll be fun. Like, we'll go get you ice cream at wherever, and like, we'll be good with that or whatever. And I was probably just like, oh yeah, I was probably really cool. Yeah, I'm cool for doing that. Let's do that again.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. I feel that so much. My older sister and brother convinced me of like that. So we had a dog and that like you were the pooper scooper,
Yeah.
and that it had like went down the line of like, I was pooper scooper number 3. Like, it's time for me to take the reins. Like, it was this really serious job. And I was like, yeah, like totally bought into it. And now they're like, you were so dumb for that. Well, you just do what you can when you're the youngest. You're just trying to get some attention.
You're trying to trust your family there, and they're letting you down. I know it all too well there. They convinced me that there was a green goblin, and that if I had anything green in my room, he was gonna come get me. So everything that was green in my room was outside my door that night, and my dad thought it was hilarious. My mom felt bad, but same thing. You try to listen to them, they think they're helping you. Yep, you're wrong.
You learn pretty quick too.
See, this is what I missed out on. I'm an only child, so I don't know any of this sibling rivalry stuff. I'm seeing it now with my own kids. We've got a 3 and a 1 year old, but it's
like they're always fighting. Like, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's next level.
The little glimmers of like being friends, and then most of the time it's just bickering.
Yeah,
that's how
pretty much. A lot of stealing clothes. That was a big issue in our house.
Oh, that would make sense.
For my brothers.
Yeah. Did you work in high school, or were you just like really dialed into sports?
Only during the summers.
Okay,
is when I worked. My parents kind of had a deal with us where if we were 3-sport athletes, didn't have to get a job during the school year and stuff. Part of kind of.
That's such like a small town mentality of like, you're going to work unless you're in sports. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then you're going to work when you can.
Yeah. So like one of my brother, Brandon, who's right above me, like didn't want to play baseball anymore in high school. I think he played his freshman year. I was like, no, I'm done. So mom was like, okay, well then you're going to get a job for the spring and the summer and stuff. And I think he worked. And then the next year he was like, I'll do track. I was like, this wasn't for me. I'll do track.
Yeah, not near as
like
fun.
But
what was your job?
I worked over the summer. One of our football coaches, Coach Miller, Brad Miller, he does like plumbing and stuff like that. Worked out at his farm, moved stuff for him, kind of whatever. Built a deck he has like a wedding venue now called Barn on a Hill. Built a deck out there for him with my brothers. My brothers kind of did the same thing, and that's kind of what I did. And then help people miscellaneous.
Dang.
That's like the best
got cut down, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like learning handyman stuff, and then
it was
also
awesome.
like how to properly cut down a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could figure it out, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it was
like,
awesome. And then also just like with that being like super flexible, like he was obviously my football coach. So when we had football lifting, just come in after whatever. So
yeah,
it was sweet.
That's a good deal, and probably a good deal for him where he's got like 5 giant guys that can like come out and do work for him. He's paying them like the high school kid wages, but like they're built like men.
Yeah, he gave us nicknames and stuff like that too.
Nice.
Called my brother Jake the Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Called my brother Brandon the Brain, and then just called me Big Man. There's 3 levels there. And then actually my dad too, worked for him. He had a tent business. So like graduation tents, stuff like that. Him and my neighbor went in. They also have 5 kids. So they went in, bought tents, thinking we'll save money instead of renting tents for graduations, and kind of became a thing. So I did that with him to set up tents for people's graduation parties, and
interesting.
Did that when I went home too over breaks. It was kind of funny. Like you'd show up to a house and they'd look out and see me out there like May break setting up a tent for some extra cash. Stuff like that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of miscellaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a golfer? I feel like your name has come up.
I am a golfer now.
Good golfer or just physically capable of golfing?
I don't know which class. Like good scratch? No, not even.
Well, not scratch, but I mean,
if you I'll shoot like mid-90s
at Finkbine.
Finkbine, yeah.
That's a little better than me. I was hoping to flex, but
I'm under 100 now, like, for sure.
I got 99 one time and I lost my mind because I finally broke 100.
Yeah, I'm like under 100 now for sure. Like if I shoot over 100, I might quit again. But
was it Reese Dakin that was on that was talking smack, or was it Logan Jones?
I don't know. Zach was talking.
Oh, Zach. It was Zach.
Yeah.
Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Sandbagger.
Yep.
We tried to have a little competition, and I was feeling good. Like, dude, like I just shot a 42 on 9 at Fink, like best 9 of my life.
So you're on it right there.
Like, he's like, yeah, like I usually shoot like low 40s like that too. Like we should play together, a little friendly competition. He goes out and shoots 3 under. I'm like, you're not even like, I said my best ever was a 42, and you're going to come out here and shoot 3 under on the front 9 of Fink. Like, you're ridiculous.
You know that he was a caddy, right?
Yeah.
In high school.
He tries to play it down. Like, I didn't play though. Like, it was a country club. Like, it doesn't matter if you play. You're still learning. It's like watching film. You're watching.
Right.
You know what a good swing is.
Right.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Him and Addison Estrenga, those two play a lot together. When I'm feeling confident, I try to go play with them. Usually shoots me back down. But
Who do you play with normally?
Logan Jones, played with him quite a bit. Mason Richmond, Nick DeYoung, O-lineman.
I feel like you guys are all way too big to be swinging golf clubs. Unless you get fitted.
I'm
you get fitted?
not fitted? No.
Well, that's why you're not shooting 3 under.
Hey.
You should went and bought some.
Deacon Hill gave me his old clubs. So I'll say that. Yeah. So they're extended.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's not like I'm not swinging standard clubs, you know, punch back in it, but
That is funny.
I try to be good.
True.
I was actually just texting one of my friends about golf today too, because Byron has like a really nice golf course back home, Prairie View. They host like amateur tournaments and stuff like that, like really well kept, pretty similar to Finkbine. And he was home over the summer, and his dad bought him and his brother passes. So he went like every day, and like so now I'm like destined to try and beat him down too. So
I love that competitive fire.
He's coming up next week, I think, and I told him that, all right, if you're gonna come up, because his girlfriend goes to school here, but I was like, all right, if you're gonna come up, we have to golf if it's nice enough.
Yeah.
So
Weather is holding off. You might be okay.
it's been incredible. Sucks for deer hunting, but been incredible weather.
Yeah.
It's been
How would you know? You haven't been deer hunting yet.
research.
Yeah.
Told you, prepping.
You do. You prepare before you do things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
That makes sense. We were talking to Logan too, and he was talking about like the guys that would go golfing. And I was like, how many golf carts do you guys need?
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine them getting up the hills very easily.
Yeah, they go slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a feat of fast golf course when you got guys like us sitting in them.
There's people behind you like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then the worst part too is they probably see us like swing an actual club, and they're like, oh, wow, they're like really bad. So like not only are they slow, they're bad at golf.
Oh, that's so good. Do you have any other hobbies or like things that you like to do outside of like competing?
Besides hunting, golfing, not really. I mean, I like to compete. Like I'll play spike ball with my brothers when we go home and stuff like that. It's pretty much kind of what I do. Pickleball has become big in our family now.
Oh,
So
I feel like that'd be kind of a hard sport if you're really tall. Is it or no?
I feel like it'd be
I think
so
it's
much easier.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you cover
Reach.
so much ground. Yeah.
You can go stand up to the net and just like think,
She's not
no
well
one's hitting it
versed
up over my head. You know?
She's not well versed in
Yeah.
pickleball. And
Okay.
our son beats her every time.
Oh,
He's 3.
it's not good.
Doing my best. All right.
No, pretty much competitive. It's kind of anything that involves that. Golf a little more leisurely competitive than other things, but other than that, like summers, I like to go like swimming, boating, and stuff like that. But
Okay.
that's about it.
Cool. You guys play at your lineman get-togethers. You guys play a game that's like similar to Werewolf. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Are you any good at that, or is that okay?
I think I'm good. Not the best. I won't say I'm the best at that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's fun. That gets heated.
That's what we've heard.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You know, people make or break that game, and it's serious. Played it last week. It got serious a little bit.
Whoops.
But
I almost feel like we need to bring on everybody that was on Talkin Hawks and play this.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of offensive linemen. We've had Mason, Logan.
yeah,
I'll stand back and just watch that. I don't want to be
it's a blast because you just got people, accusations are going, and you know, you're either it or not, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes one person thinks they got it, and it really just, you know, you lost the game for everybody. But,
oh, that's really funny. Is there somebody in the lineman room that's like the most competitive? That's like, you know, if he loses the night, like just forget it. Like the night.
Why do I feel like it's the guy we're talking to?
I don't know. He's
no,
young
it's
as
not
child.
me.
It's not him. He's used to that.
Mason's pretty competitive that way.
Okay.
I'd probably pick Mason out of the room like that.
That's surprising.
He seemed like the goofiest dude.
Yeah. He's got a different side to him, huh?
Yeah, he gets pretty competitive into it. He takes offense too if you think it's him and it's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He tries to defend himself pretty confidently, but
it's one of those ones that you like. He's so serious and like you just have to sit back and like laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep. Because even if it's not him, he acts the same way. Like, no, it's not. Like, it's not me. Like, it's got to be them. So you really don't know. Like, he's pretty good at playing it kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. So nobody believes him. And then he gets really mad when they're like, see, it wasn't me. You guys ruined it. You ruined the game. like you're wrong. We lost.
Yes.
That's so good.
I happen to notice your tattoo here. Do you mind talking about it real quick?
Yeah. This is kind of for my family. I guess there's an E for Elsbury, 7 for the 7 of us. There's an olive branch here with olives for like the piece of our family. I put it, and then my mom's parents are both passed, so I have a halo for them. And then Psalms 23:4 for kind of just the piece of my family kind of thing. I tried to get it to be like a
meaningful
family emblem. You know, like, hey, maybe if I get this first,
as the youngest,
brothers will, get it, and we could all like, hey, we have matching family tattoos.
Did they do it?
No, not any of them, but it was meaningful still to me. Like, I didn't do it solely for that purpose, but
right. That's cool. What's the other one?
It's probably easier just to show. It's like a crown with crosses on the top, just kind of like representatory of my faith. Mm-hmm. I haven't worn this shirt in a while.
Okay.
And then it also just has a small Bible verse on it. I kind of got this one just so that way when I'm playing, I can kind of look down and constantly remind myself while I'm playing and of my faith and that, there's a bigger plan. So.
Were you raised up that way and like your whole family is faith?
My mom's side of the family is very, very religious. Grew up Catholic, church on Sundays, Sunday school, confirmation kind of thing. And big part of my life. So
So when you say you look down and it reminds you why you play, what is that reason to you?
Just like for my family, like they didn't get that chance. They played football at like great school and stuff, but not the level that, I got to play, fortunate enough.
Sure.
And also just, I know our last name is on the back of my jersey and stuff like that. So, how I play is representation of them as well. So I like to look down and then also just know that like God's got my back and that there's a bigger plan out there for me and just out there having fun.
Yeah. How do you think your faith has played into your journey, just getting into college, adjusting to that, and now playing on Saturdays? How has that kind of shaped you?
Yeah, I think it just helps kind of put me at ease. A lot of anxiety goes into playing sports, stuff like that. And, having my faith to rely on, definitely just like sets me at ease. Knowing that good, bad, whatever, like it's not going to make or break my life. Not that I don't want everything to go right, be win, whatever, but it's also like not the most important thing. Like it's being a good person too. And just all those things. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, I mean, there's a lot of connections between you and Logan Lee that we've already discussed, but like we had him on and he really went into it and like how his faith has been a part of his life really for, as long as he can remember, but it's cool to like see that kind of stuff continue to be a thing in the program. Yeah.
Logan was kind of a big part of that too. I was here, like I was raised Catholic and stuff like that. So like kind of took it just for granted a little bit that, that's how I've always been that way. But, coming here, like some people aren't believers and whatever. And, Logan kind of offered me to go to Bible studies with him at like Heirloom and stuff like that and having conversations with him. And he's just like very open, very honest about, how he is. And I kind of took part of that too. Went to a couple Bible studies with him and Monty. And, so he kind of helped me realize and kind of regrow back into that. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Whether he probably doesn't even know that, but there you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Dang. Yeah, it is. It is really cool. And I can't remember who we were talking to. It might have been Logan Jones, but we talked a lot about athletes in action and how he said it's just really cool to see how many guys, and we've noticed this too, like even just putting like the crosses on their cheeks before game days and things like that, but just how many guys have really like poured into their faith just by being on the team and that it's kind of like spread. And I just think that's really cool, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Jack Diltzler's another one of those guys, goes to church like religiously, goes to confessional and stuff like that. Logan, obviously, very, very big part of his faith and who he is as well. Other guys are,
I see Reese Vanderzee with the one cross.
Vanderzee, Mason Richmond started putting crosses too. Logan has that. Just like other guys kind of growing into it, and everyone has their own way of going about learning about God, whatever. Like I don't necessarily go to Athletes in Action. I prefer like be at home and stuff like that. Pray, like give thanks over meals and whatever. But I know like Cale Krogh was like big in Athletes in Action. Jeremiah Pittman, pregame meal, like says thanks every week. Logan did that and stuff like that. So it's a big part of our team. And just like a certain group of guys do it. And we have chapel before on Fridays and stuff like that. So it's kind of ever growing. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no kidding. And just how it's growing. Excuse me. I've been waiting to do that. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, Matthew. Anyway, just really cool to see how it's growing like organically too.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's not a thing that's shoved down your throats or anything like that. Like it's really just kind of between you guys as players and athletes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people offer like, hey, you want to come to Athletes in Action tonight? Stuff like that. And you can decline like, nah, like I'm just gonna hang out at home with Jennings or whatever.
Sure.
And no one's like, well, I really like, no one's ever like pushing it, because then it's not, not organic, like you said, it's not them realizing it. It's forced, and that's not what you want with kind of your faith and stuff like that. Like you want that to be,
a true decision.
Yeah, true decision, a true, just like true belief, stuff like that. So it's really cool to see that too. Like Cade McNamara is very into that, like as well, and he goes to church a lot and is very into his faith, but it's not forcing it on anyone else around the team and stuff like that. It's very like self, and guys, you can get together with guys and stuff like that. Everyone's very open to it, but so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
cool. Do you have anything else, Matt?
I don't know. I'm blown away by that stuff because like I was thinking about my own, time at Iowa, which like I had a foundation and Athletes in Action was going on, but I didn't go. I kind of just had my foundation and that was it. And then when I got done playing, I started to read into it more, mainly because at the time I thought that my value was indicative of what 70,000 people at Kinnick thought of me, not what God thought of me.
Yeah.
And that was a very harsh realization once, like, because when you're so ingrained in the one, it's hard to see the other one. And so it's just cool to see this many people seeing it now. Like when you guys are in the middle of it, especially with the ups and downs. Like, I mean, every time you're out there, somebody's saying something. Like everybody's got something to say. I remember just for fun when I was younger, a buddy of mine, Andrew Stone, he was a JUCO transfer from Iowa Western. We would like scroll Twitter to see all the beat things people were saying about us. But like even through that, like to have the foundation of the group of people that have that kind of faith would have made so much of that so much easier. And it's just really cool to see that there's that many people like moving in the same direction.
It's I don't have Twitter for that reason, and like, not necessarily like not that I'm getting blasted on Twitter. Like,
well, you'd be surprised.
Like, I don't know. But again, I don't know. But like it's also just like in that where I don't want to be on Twitter too, seeing something like, if someone has a bad game, like it's easy to throw out, like Cade, because he's QB and he gets the ball in the center. But like it's also like I don't want to read that stuff about someone else anyways, like Cade and like whatever. And like I log onto Twitter every now and again to like check Bayern's football like page and stuff like that, and like try to find stuff like that. But like by no means am I scrolling through, like, because I don't want to read that too. And like I gotta imagine how he feels, when people saying that stuff about him, but like, I don't even want that to be like in my mind, like think, cause that's not how I think about him ever and stuff like that. So I just try to like get that out of the way.
As I was actually thinking about this, as an offensive lineman, now that Brendan Sullivan's kind of become like the goal line thing. I know we haven't talked much football. This will be like the only football I promise. Is it very different between the two cadences? Like, do they almost have to have their own kind of cadence, or do they do a good job of trying to have the same cadence?
They do a good job. It's pretty, I mean, obviously it's the same cadence that they say.
But I know
like
inflection
rhythm,
and stuff like that.
Inflection, rhythm and stuff like that. Very similar. They do a good job. Coach Lester emphasizes that pretty good, that like all QBs need to be in the same. So that way it's not like if they step in, it's not different, and linemen aren't,
that's one thing people don't understand. Like when a new QB comes in, that
especially when it's loud and like 70,000 people, or an away game, especially like last week, and when it's loud night game, like it makes a big difference on trying to like time up when to get off the ball and stuff like that. But they both do a really good job of being on the same wavelength.
That is an interesting thing that, I mean, I would have never thought.
Well, because nobody's looking at the ball. Only receivers are looking at the ball. Like, I don't care about the cadence because I'm just going to look in and move when that moves. But, like, they have to be able to get off. And then you're more interior, right? Last time you came in at guard.
Yeah. Yep. Played guard last week. Played center a lot last year and this year too. So,
So like with that, I mean, you're closer, but still, I mean, you're not looking directly at the ball, you know, when the cadence is said.
Yeah. It does. I mean, you see it like our home field advantage is when people are backed up in the north end zone.
Oh, yeah.
They're jumping like crazy. Like makes a huge difference when you can hear and same rhythm and have it timed up and just kind of moving.
You know.
So kind of going back to the faith thing, obviously that will help you and help so many guys with the transition after football.
Yeah.
What's your major? And do you have any idea after your 10 years in the NFL?
I always say when you're 58 and retired.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what you want to do?
Yeah, so my major, I'm a sports rec management major. I got my bachelor's this past spring, so I graduated. Trying to get into grad school here. Thank you. Trying to get into grad school. I was late on the application for the fall. Slacked on that a little bit. So now I'm trying to get in the spring. But taking grad classes still for that.
That's hysterical.
But to be honest, I'll probably just end up coaching.
Really?
Collegiately or high school level wise. That's what my brother does. And
is he a teacher too?
Yeah. So he's actually at Regina. He's the head football coach there. This is his first year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So kind of runs in our family. My other brother coaches like youth wrestling, coached high school football.
You have black hair.
School. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. He might have been there. So I coached at Regina for a year when Marv was the head coach.
2020?
For a year and a half. Yeah.
You would have coached right with him.
Yeah.
That was his first year. Dustin. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you coached there at all. That's
because they came down for a 7-on-7.
Rick was in high school and everything.
Yeah. That's true. Wow. Mind blown. Regina came over to Solon because I coach at Solon right now. And Regina came down and I saw him and I was like, I swear I know this dude, but I can't remember exactly, but because he's been there the whole time.
Huh. That's crazy.
So it just kind of runs in my family. My dad coached high school football for a long time. I actually coached at Tipton for a little bit before we moved to Illinois. And my mom coached his volleyball and coached softball. And I've just kind of always been around it. And
thanks for everybody
my
but
passion.
sports.
Yeah. And did you say your dad was your wrestling coach in high school?
Yep. He was our head wrestling coach, still is.
What was that like? Did you like being coached by your dad? We like to ask that question a lot because we've talked about with our son, like, oh man, does Matt want to coach him when he's in high school? And, you know, like we talked to him, Quinn Schulte last year. And he's like, I loved having my dad as a coach just because, you know, like they got along really well, that kind of thing.
Maybe he just said it for the cameras. I don't know. But.
Yeah. So it was really exciting for me because growing up, he didn't like coach necessarily any of my youth stuff. Coached me wrestling youth wise, just more one-on-one stuff like that. But like flag football, baseball, stuff like that, he was never my coach and stuff like that because he was coaching high school sports, coaching my older brothers through that stuff too. So it was really exciting for me to get to high school to be able to, you know, perform for him, learn from him, be in the same room as him, joke around with him.
So you almost had to wait your turn to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and like a lot of my learning was from my brothers too, athletically, being out in the backyard and stuff like that while he was coaching high school and stuff. And so when I finally got to be in the room with him in middle school, my 8th grade year wrestling, I decided I was doing middle school wrestling, but I had a deal with our middle school coach that I was going to go to high school practices, not wrestle with the high school.
I mean, when you're the biggest kid, it probably is okay, right?
Yeah. And no one was my size again. So like I was wrestling kids that were tinier than me. It just wasn't very beneficial. So I went and wrestled in the high school room with high school heavyweights and stuff like that. So when I finally got to do that, I got to actually be in the room with him, learn from my brothers, stuff like that. So it was very much so fine. It was more of like finally, like my dad is like my coach here. Here we go. Like let's learn and let's do this. So it was very fun, very exciting.
That is so special.
Yeah.
That's a really
I feel like that's a different story than normally we hear, just because you have to earn your right to be coached by him.
Yeah.
Almost.
That's really unique. Very special.
So yeah, it was unique. But again, it was awesome. I got to coach for him. Probably stressed him out a ton. but yeah, it was incredible to be able to wrestle under him. And you know, I was captain for 3 years on the wrestling team there. So I was also like the leader of that room anyway. So it was fun.
Wow. That's amazing. Do you have a preference, college or high school yet, or not really, in terms of your coaching? Not
really. I mean, I think it'd be cool to do high school too. Just like they're younger, they're still very moldable. Like it's not necessarily about performance all the time. Like I find that stuff, like I'm a psychology minor too. So like that kind of stuff is always really awesome. Like to me, just like helping kids learn and grow. I always go back home and do camps and stuff like that. Try to help out with like junior tackle or high school football, I always try to go give back home. So if I did that, I think it'd be more like beneficial without the money versus college, where you probably get a little bit higher pay and still be
Definitely get higher pay.
Yeah. Yeah, but you'd be moving
just
around.
also,
I was gonna say there's also a lot of other things that come along with
yeah,
it.
exactly. So just depends what the future holds. Obviously not there yet. So
Yeah.
got some time, not stressing about it.
Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for coming in.
This is
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks for having me. It was awesome. Great experience.
We wish you the best of luck the rest of the season and and beyond, of course. And
Thank
good luck
you.
getting into the grad program.
Thank you. Hopefully,
Get it on time this time, okay?
already submitted.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
I'm
Wipe your hands
I'm
of
waiting
it.
now. I'm waiting.
Well, good luck. And thanks again for coming in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa.
As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
I love Estella's because it's fresh, from the fresh grilled steak to salsas to their fresh pressed tortillas.
I love Estella's because it's quick. We can get in and out, and it doesn't feel like fast food. It feels like fresh food quick.
We both love Estella's because it's made with love. They put a lot of pride in their food and customer service, and they are locally owned.
That's Estella's Fresh Max. Fresh food made quick with love. When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridor's best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
Looking to make a splash online in Eastern Iowa? Digital Boost is your local go-to digital marketing agency. They help local businesses connect with their ideal customers online.
Digital Boost has a diverse client base, ranging from small businesses to industry leaders, including well-known brands like DNR Pest Control and Advanced Millwork.
Visit their website at www.digitalboostia.com to learn more or contact them for a free in-person consultation. So, homecoming, check. Now, military appreciation.
The bowl.
Wisconsin. Oh, yeah. Wisconsin, night game, blackout,
The bowl.
the bowl. It's gonna be fun. This is our preview for Wisconsin.
Yes. Do you have to? Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts in order because I have so many things on Bucky Badger. So I'm
I
just
can't
looking
wait.
down. But yeah, if you're going to the game this weekend, if you're going to be in Kinnick Stadium and you're going to be enjoying the night game, the night life, make sure you're grabbing an Easy Eddie. Make sure you're grabbing something from Big Grove because they are the official craft brewery of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they're inside Kinnick Stadium. If you are not going to the game, of course, make it to Big Grove. It's going to be perfect timing for you to have their delicious dinner choices, and they are the official watch headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes. So you got to head over to one of their locations, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Des Moines. So many good options. And I tell you what, I had the jalapeno popper burger the other day, which is on their game day menu. Amazing. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. All right, let's get into this. So, Bucky Badger, I don't think I've talked about him.
I don't know if you have.
I don't know. It might have been a couple years
I'm
ago
ready to be enlightened.
when we were doing the podcast from our lovely closet, but here we are. First, I just want to throw out this little fun fact. Did you know there's a statue of Abraham Lincoln on the Wisconsin campus? A really big one. And I guess it's like a tradition to climb up on it if you like when you graduate and like whisper your hopes and dreams into his ear. I'm not doing that. I don't care who tells me it's a tradition. I'm not doing that.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to climb up on it. I'm just surprised nobody gets in trouble for that. So this is kind of interesting. They're called the Badgers, not because of like the animal in the state, but, and I'm going to read this directly from here. This is from the UW-Madison official website. Badgers was borrowed from the state of Wisconsin, which was dubbed the Badger State. And the name didn't come from the animals in the region, but rather the association with lead miners in the 1820s. Who would have known? Because without shelter in the winter, the miners had to, quote unquote, live like badgers in tunnels burrowed into hillsides. How about that? That's actually very interesting and very unexpected.
It makes me very mad about the mascot then.
Why?
If they're not named after the...
Then they should have like
Then they
coal
should-
miner
yeah.
outfits. That's fair. Fair assessment. Or some kind of ode to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's a really cool story.
That's a miss. And you'd be a lot cooler if you were like think of that. I'm like thinking like the alternative uniforms. If they had a helmet that had like the light, not like an actual light, but like painted, like the light that the coal miners wore. I think, Matt, somebody has to hire us. I'm so tired of having
All black
so
unis.
many good ideas. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of doing that.
I'm tired of working for other people's social media stuff.
You're so right. Let's have another team have all black uniforms that black is.
I just thought the same thing. I was like, I should have said that.
Bad idea. I did like their all red uniforms this past weekend, though. Who were they playing? Penn State. Those looked really nice. Okay, so going all the way back, 1889, that's when they officially decided the badger would be their like official mascot. So then they brought in, what do you know, a real badger. And it was like too vicious to keep on the sidelines.
Not shocking.
Yeah, those things are crazy.
Yes.
And so it would like, it escaped a couple of times. And one of the handlers, I guess, had to like full on like lay out and tackle the thing to like get it to stop. And which is really sad.
Was
for
it a regular
everybody.
badger or was it a honey badger?
I have no idea. I think it doesn't really say. It just says a badger. So probably just a badger. I think honey badgers look different than badgers.
They do.
I think it's just a badger. So then they gave it to the Madison Zoo. They were like, here, you take this guy. And guess what they brought in next? A raccoon. And they were like,
This
guys.
would be way better.
Yeah. Apparently it was really nice. They named him Regdab. Do you know why? Regdab. Matt, you're smarter than this. It's badger backwards.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And they just told everybody it's a badger in a raccoon suit. So
But it was a real life.
it was a real raccoon.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. Then in 1940, an artist drew an illustration of a badger, and that kind of became like the logo / mascot for the university. Then in 1949, somebody was like, you know what? We actually need like a real mascot. And Matt, what did they make the head out of? Paper mache. Paper mache. And you know when they actually brought it to life? What game? Their homecoming game. And who are they playing? Iowa. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. And originally his name, he had a few different names that people would call him by. It was Benny, Buddy, Bernie, Bobby, and Bouncy.
0 for 5.
Bouncy Badger. That's funny. And then they had a contest, of course, amongst the student body. And they picked, this is his official name, Buckingham U. Badger, or Bucky. Buckingham, that's nice. I wonder what the U stands for. I don't know. Then, this is something I never really even
University?
considered. Well, thank you. It's something I never really considered, but sometime in the 1980s, they decided like, hey, Bucky really shouldn't talk. So I guess I'd never really considered like why mascots don't talk. It just seems kind of natural. But at the same time, when you're coming up with a mascot, why would you just be like, yeah, don't talk? But what this said was that there was like some women that did the mascot. And they were like, hey, we don't want kids going home and be like, hey, Dad, why does Bucky sound like a girl?
Why were girls the mascots?
We have girl mascots.
No, I'm saying like.
Though, like historically, it seems like a lot of them were.
This and Michigan State we were just talking about.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know.
Or the Northwestern one. Sorry, with the 2 girls and the cat.
Yeah. More personality, I guess. More excitement than the typical man.
Interesting.
But anyway, in the 80s, they were like, okay, guys, like no more talking. Isn't that so weird?
I'm trying to imagine like a giant, like trying to be scary thing and then be like, hi.
And then it's me in there. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Like over the top nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it has like that fate. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to read this too, because I found this so interesting. And again, this is from the official UW Madison website, but it says Bucky Badger has persevered throughout the years, even surviving a threat by the then Assistant Attorney General, Howard Koop, in 1973. He suggested that Bucky would be replaced by Henrietta Holstein, a lovable and productive cow.
Productive.
I know that word. I was like, ew. But anyway, it said that Koop argued that kids love cows. A generation could grow up supporting the university and Henrietta Holstein. And it said,
Henrietta, the productive cow. You
yeah.
can't. No.
Can you imagine? How do you make that scary? Like intimidating. And it says that his effort to overthrow Bucky clearly failed. But they actually have 7 students needed to do all of the stuff that Bucky does. I don't know how many costumes they have, but they have to have 7 students like on rotation to be able to go to all of the events and appearances, all that kind of stuff. And just like every other mascot, well, most mascots, you can hire them to like come to your wedding or whatever. It's like $100.
Wait, we could have had Herky at our wedding and we chose not to?
Yeah.
That's a miss.
Don't tell Herky.
He wasn't invited.
So he also has this, and a lot of other places do this, but I want to say that he kind of started it. I'm just saying that because I want to say that. But he does push-ups every time the team scores. So if they get a field goal, scores 3, or he does 3 push-ups, blah blah blah. You know that scoring in football, right, Matt? You know how it goes.
Please,
if you do,
enlighten.
If you get a touchdown, he does 6, extra point. Then he would do 1, so that 7. Anyway, so I'm glad you know that now. But anyway, at a game versus Indiana, November 13th, 2010, Bucky did 573 push-ups in the game. So what would that score be, Matt?
573-0.
You're so embarrassing.
He does it for every point, or every point just Washington or Wisconsin scores?
Wait, well, just Wisconsin. But if so hold on. So if they score a touchdown plus the extra point, then he would do 7. If they score 5 minutes later, another touchdown with the extra point, then he would do 14.
Oh, so it compounds.
Yes.
Is your point.
So he did 573 push-ups for the winning score of 83-20.
I was going to do the math.
No, it's okay. We don't have time for that.
Okay.
So yeah, that was only in 2010. Isn't that crazy? A score of 83-20. I feel like that's a score you'd hear about, like, in the 50s, da-da-da. Not in 2010.
Yeah, not long ago.
But yeah, he's 84 years old. Oh.
Buckingham U.
But that's so nice. I want to name our next dog that, Buckingham.
Buckingham U, huh?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he travels with the team to all the away games as well.
So they have like the skit all planned and everything?
Probably. I'm trying to think. I didn't see the Wildcat this weekend now that I'm thinking about it. I also wasn't really looking.
I wouldn't look for the Wildcat either.
Herky had all of his costumes on. He does different costumes,
For Halloween?
Yeah, pretty good. So he had one that he was Toad from like Mario, And so he had what? And so he had on like the purple vest that he wears and like the white pants.
Okay. And
then he had on what looks like a shower cap. And then they put like red dots on it to look. And one of this girl on the sideline that I work with, she goes, I could not figure out what he was trying to be. I thought it was like Aladdin in a shower cap.
Oh.
And I was like,
that's tough.
What? It made me laugh very hard.
Yikes.
Because anyway. All right. So tell me about Wisconsin.
All right. So they're coming off a pretty close loss. You and I both watched that game. They were in it until the very end. Big Ten was kind of wonky between Nebraska almost upsetting Ohio State and Wisconsin almost upsetting Penn State. So obviously both those teams won, but still kind of close. It's kind of interesting that even though the East and West are still they no longer exist, it's nice to see that those games are still competitive. And it's kind of nice that there's more crossover than maybe you would have seen in prior years. But as far as Wisconsin, their quarterback, so last 5 games, he's turned it over 6 or 7 times between interceptions and fumbles. He's thrown a pick in every game he started. So
sounds fun.
So we're going to have an opportunity to take the ball away. That being said, his ball placement on some of the throws against Penn State were actually really good. His receivers just couldn't figure out how to catch the ball on some of them. Nice deep ball over the shoulder outside. There was one late where it looked like it was right before the Penn State guy got there, but the ball placement was great. Receiver just rolled over and dropped it. But there's some real talent, I guess, like ball placement wise. But at the same token, sometimes it goes to us. So hopefully we can take advantage of that against them. And that being said, although this isn't the same Wisconsin team, right? It's not like they've got the Braylon Allens, the Jonathan Taylors. Like they're not going to just hand the ball off 45 times a game. But they're also not quite into Luke Fickell's their head coach. They're not quite into Fickell's full system of his guys. So they're not still an offense built to come from behind. they're still not quite that way in terms of like, oh, we'll just sling it all over. Quarterback threw it like 40 times against Penn State, but he was 20 for 39, I think was the last stat I saw. He might have finished a little bit better than that. But so that being said, like 19 incompletions is a lot of incompletions. So like I said, ball's placement's good. We just know that we're going to come away with at least one with the way we continue to play. That being said, we want him to beat us because if he's willing to turn the ball over and he's got to throw that many times, we're going to get at least one. Defensively, they run a 3-4, which is always a little bit of a shakeup. It almost looks like a 5-2 again. So a 3-4 is 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. And a 5-2 would be 5 down linemen and 2 linebackers. They just put 3 guys that are actually down, hand in the dirt, and then 2 stand-up ends. So it's technically a 3-4, but it looks like a 5-2. And that kind of messes with our count every now and then because you count one of the inside guys as a quote down lineman. So it'll be, depending upon how they're doing it, it's like, okay, we have 3 down linemen. We're going to count that guy as the down lineman. So we're accounting for him blitzing. But the difference between a 3-4 and a 4-3 is like we run a 4-3 or a 4-2-5 kind of where our 4 linemen for the most part are going to be rushing the passer. And then you don't know who another blitzer would be because it would be an extra guy. And I've talked about this before where for whatever reason, 4 is the magic number for that's how many people blitz the quarterback. And so when only 3 come, now you have to determine who's going to be that 4th guy. Is it going to be the guy on the far left, guy on the far right, and one of the middle guys? You don't know. So the line automatically accounts for one of the middle guys because that's usually who ends up blitzing most often. That being said, they could bring all 5 that are up front and send 2 back. Like there's a lot of different things they can do based off that look. So we're going to have to be buttoned up in the run game because it is going to be an adjustment. Now we've faced both 3-4 and 4-3 this year, so we're getting a good taste of both. I hope that we can get Caleb Johnson going a little bit earlier. What is really nice is that seeing those adjustments real time, paying off dividends, and I'm excited to see what happens. As far as based off that, so it wasn't a play action that we took a shot. We just took a shot. After I talked about Mason Richmond with the drawing the offsides penalty. And then it wasn't a play action. It wasn't like we faked giving the ball to Caleb Johnson and then threw it deep. We just took a shot. Seth Anderson looks good. He looks fast. Looks like that hamstring is healthy and he's scooting. He also had an opportunity on a corner route. We just threw it a little bit too far outside. So there's actually, he did catch it. His foot just didn't come down. His foot went like that over the end zone, but he had an opportunity. So I'm hoping that we continue to take shots like that. Haven't seen Sullivan throw it down the field, although he did have a nice RPO where we hit, I believe, Dayton Howard on a glance, which is like a 5-step post. It's one of the most common things you see right now in all of football, whether it be NFL, college. You just see it a lot, especially college football, I guess. But so I don't know who QB1 is going to be. And that being said, we're recording this on Sunday, the day after the game. So it's not like we've seen any pressers. We haven't seen injury reports, depth charts, nothing. So I'm going to have to assume if it is injury related, I'm going to have to assume it's Sullivan. And if it's not injury related, then I have to assume it's going to be Cade. And both are going to be serviceable and play. If it is Sullivan, I think it was really good to get some of those game reps in terms of passing the ball. And then hopefully continuing to move forward. His legs are going to be a weapon and they're going to continue to be. So I hope that he gets that kind of work, especially if he's taken all the 1s reps in practice leading up to the start. I think that'd be really good for him game plan wise. I'm just waiting for more shots, stuff like that off of Seth Anderson, but the bootleg stuff works really good, especially with his ability to extend plays. We've seen we've seen Cade McNamara do that on a couple times where he hit, I believe it was Ortworth or a Stranger or something when he rolled to his left. It was early on in the season. So both of our quarterbacks have the ability to extend. I think Sullivan's just a little bit quicker, quick twitch kind of guy. So we'll see if the read option and that kind of stuff comes in on a 3-4 to really put that linebacker in a bad situation. Does he want to crash and try and get Caleb Johnson, or are we going to let Brendan Sullivan go one-on-one? That being said, there are some things I think we'd do in the run game because I saw it against Penn State that they went corners over. So Wisconsin's kind of known for having physical corners, or at least from the time that I'm playing or from the time that I played and what I saw against Penn State. And they'll bring their corners over. What that means is they're playing man-to-man. And so, okay, if we've got a nub or a tight end here, and I talked about this, I believe, on one of the other episodes. So if they bring that corner over, then they're going to bring that safety down on the backside to be the contained player. When normally he fills inside out, now he's got to fill outside in because he's a contained guy. I think that might be an opportunity if we go twins, which is what I would call it, the 2 receivers to the field and then a tight end to the boundary. You might be able to get better numbers that way and not have a true contained player all the time to give Caleb Johnson more opportunities there. So I think there's some stuff that we can continue to do on offense. We don't have to restructure anything with Sullivan. He just kind of adds another wrinkle in terms of like the read option on backside. And I'd be curious if they add more option type stuff with him, kind of what that looks like with his legs being a true threat. But I think there's going to be, if he is QB1, because Cade's out, I think there's going to be a big growth between game 1 and game 2. And if it is Cade, I still think that he looked good aside from that interception. And so I'll be curious to kind of see how he leads them out there. But as far as defense and special teams, they're -2 in the turnover margin. So I expect us to win that. I talked about earlier that the quarterback likes to give it away a lot. We just have to take care of the football. And with the way that Reese is punting, and if Caden Weegan continues to be a threat on punt return and our defense doing what they do, honestly, the offense, you don't have to score every drive, but you have to eat up some clock and move the field position to make it easier for you. Drew Stevens has a cannon for a leg. I mean, Michigan State beat us kicking 97 field goals. So it wouldn't be we just need to utilize what we have. Don't need to do anything different. Run the ball with Caleb Johnson, play action off of it, utilize quick game. Try and take a shot every now and then, but it doesn't have to be completely new in order to get the bowl back into Iowa City.
Good one. Thanks. Well, the weather on Saturday, now we are 6 days away, but it says 58 with a low of 43 and a 40% chance of rain. What? 40% chance of rain? You don't like
heavy
to
dose
see
of Caleb
that.
Johnson, Kamari Moulton, and a little bit of Jazzy and Patterson.
Sounds fun. And if you're looking at Wisconsin, who now likes to throw it a bit more.
Well, they also were down in that game, so they were trying to get back into it. But yes, they throw more than the 9 times, that they used to.
I guess we'll see. We'll see if the rain continues or if it'll hold off a bit. It looks like this week is going to be our last week of nice weather.
Sad.
It is kind of sad. Then we're sequestered inside. But okay, cool. It's going to be a fun week leading up to this game.
It's always fun when you play Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think so too. I think out of the Big Ten, if there's a team that I would cheer for if I wasn't cheering for the Hawkeyes, would probably be Wisconsin, I think.
2014 was kind of my coming out party was Wisconsin. I had 2 really big catches in that game. And so they have got a nice place in my heart because I played well against them.
They let you do that?
Yeah.
It was nice of them.
Yeah, it's great.
And we were talking about this last night. This is so embarrassing, kind of. But in 2015, after the Wisconsin game, is when we officially decided to be boyfriend and girlfriend.
You made it Facebook official. And I remember sitting on the team bus and everybody's like, they got up and looked back at me because I didn't know what was going on until somebody else said, "Yeah, are you serious?" And I was like, I guess.
Okay, you make it sound way worse. Like we hadn't already talked about the fact that we were dating. Matt, you were painting me in such a weird light. You did that on purpose. That is so rude.
No, we had talked about it before. We just hadn't made it. Remember, in those days, Facebook official.
I know.
That's when it was real.
That's when it was real. And it was just really nice and real after that game. You had a really nice game. I think you did, didn't you? You had a couple catches.
Yeah, I think I had 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we won.
Got me interested. Okay.
Now you're painting yourself in a weird light. I didn't do that. You did that.
It's fine. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. This was a really good episode. Tyler was so fun.
It was a good time.
Those linemen are just a mixed bag.
They're a trip. One way or another, they're a trip.
Yes, but the best, just the nicest men.
And also kind of scary.
Yeah. A little mixture.
In some environments.
Yeah. Board games. Don't get involved with Mason. All right. Well, if you haven't already done so, you got to subscribe to our Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. I know a lot of you are still watching on the Estella's channel.
Which we do appreciate.
Which is super great. And we love it. But you're missing out because we're posting the entire interviews, the full interviews on the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. So find that, subscribe to that. I'll always be linking it on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of thing. So if you do happen to follow either of us on social media, we're going to be tagging and linking that specific YouTube channel. So it's super easy to find. But again, we just appreciate all of you watching wherever you're watching.
And listening.
and listening on Spotify. I talked to somebody on the sideline, can't think of who it was, said that they like to watch it on Spotify, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to everybody that's tuning in. Leave a comment, give a little like, and anything else? Okay. Well, then we will see you next Sunday. And that's it. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.